What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another week here at the Partridge House, or another video, another episode, whatever you want to call it. And this week what we're going to be doing is tackling the kitchen. So first off, again for our newcomers, anyone that's new to this channel, welcome, thanks for joining us. If you're just coming across this video and aren't a subscriber yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click that little bell icon so you guys get notifications when we release new videos. And as I said, this week we're going to be tackling the kitchen, so cue the intro. So before we start assembling that madness, which is the IKEA kitchen, we're going to work on kind of a custom set of built-ins, or a little bit more of a unique wall on this side that incorporates the fridge, some lowers, some floating shelves, and the pantry in that back corner. So I say custom, but what we're really going to be doing is actually reworking some old cabinetry that we pulled out of Hilltop. So these are solid birch cabinets. We've got two of them that are going to form our lowers. And then what we're going to be doing is just using plywood, or nice clean birch plywood, with some face frames on it to build out the rest of our cabinet that'll surround the fridge to the one above the fridge, an end panel. And then we've got an old opaque glass or frosted glass door that we're going to be reworking as the new pantry door. I should be calling this episode "Welcome to Cabinet Building on the Fly with Jeff." So I don't think, well actually I know brad nails aren't going to be strong enough to hold kind of this geometric design in place. So we're going to add a few pocket screws in just to hold everything nice and snug, especially if they're going to be putting cookbooks and wine bottles and that sort of stuff in here. And that'll really stiffen everything up. Small pocket hole driller works great when you screw up, and should have done this ahead of time. Panels in place, one of the last things to do before getting these cabinets and all that ready for paint is to go ahead and trim out the faces to hide those laminated layers of plywood. So to do that, we've got two different pieces here. The first is just 3/4 inch screen molding. It fits the front of that 3/4 inch piece of plywood really nicely. And the second thing we got is 2 1/4 inch fir casing. We're actually going to rip this down to make it about 1 1/4 inch, and this will frame out the cabinet itself. Are looking awesome on this side. I'm super happy with how the color is turning out. We got 2 coats of paint on there. They're going to need a third just to bring out that really richness of color. Let me show you the color. doors. Oh, they look so good, especially with that wood interior. Anyways, while that's drying, we're going to jump into the other half of the kitchen, and that is putting in the actual IKEA cabinets. Assembling them is rather boring, so let's jump right into putting them on the kicks and hanging them up on the wall. So we have all of the lowers installed, everything except for that guy over in the corner. And the reason we haven't done that one yet is because you'll see a filler or a gap on this side that needs to be filled with a filler panel. And it's much easier to do that without the cabinet installed than it is with it installed. Our base cabinets are now completely installed, and it's time to move on to getting our uppers put in. Normally, I would just shove them as high as I can to the ceiling in an 8-foot house and let them stay there, leaving me about 19 or 20 inches between the countertop and my wall cabinets. Now in this case, I need a perfect 18-inch backsplash, and I'll show you why. Hold on. I have tile that looks like this. Very geometric, very square. So when I put my tile onto my backsplash, I want to end with a perfect row, which makes it 18 inches tall. So what I'm going to do is set my laser level, which is already set right now, at the height where my backsplash needs to finish, and set my upper cabinets or my wall cabinets accordingly. Picking this tile is kind of ironic because I've talked about in past blog posts how I'm relatively, not cheap, but I like to be thrifty on my backsplash tile and use a lot of Subway tile. We splurged this time. That stuff's expensive. We're back here for week 2 of the kitchen renovation. We got a few things tidied up over the weekend, a few small little jobs done, one of them being these fix-it brackets, and actually, you know what, let's chat about these fix-it brackets for a quick second. If you're planning to use IKEA kitchen cabinetry and plan to put stone countertops, or really countertops with any sort of weight on them, you want to use these brackets. So what they do is they raise the cabinet frame height about 1/8 of an inch so that it's even with these front rails. That way, when you put your heavy countertops on top of the actual cabinet frames, the weight is transferred in through the actual box itself, and it's not sitting on just this rail at the front and only transferred on a couple point loads. So beside those, we ended up getting the little hidden cabinet next to the kitchen sink done. So I will put a link in the description to see how so you guys can see how I went about building that. And all it does is it makes use of some dead space that would otherwise be covered by a filler panel. With that being said, today we're going to, or while we wait anyways for our actual countertops to be installed, we're going to head back towards that built-in wall and get a pantry door made to close off that gap to kind of our pseudo walk-in pantry. It's countertop day here at the Partridge House, and that's one of my favorite days during any renovation is when we start going from just a bunch of empty cabinet boxes to actually looking a little bit more like a finished space. So you can see here behind me, we've got the first piece sitting in. They look so good. Let's cue to a little bit of B-roll and show you guys what the whole process looks like. Countertops are in, they look fantastic, really happy with the finish we chose. Gonna move on now to all the doors and the drawers and get them all finished up and really get our cabinetry, that look of our cabinetry finished off. And then from there we can move on to the backsplash. So it turns out the video recorded without any sound, so you're stuck with this. But at this point we had our countertops installed, the backsplash was finished up and grouted, and it was time to move on to the final few things to really round out this kitchen. First we got our range hood installed, we got our appliances in place, and then we finished off the final few outlets and switches that needed changing. We reinstalled that sleek matte black faucet, and finally, we could get the cabinet kicks in place. That was a long day. We're about 8:30 now. We've been going for give or take about 12 hours just tidying up and finishing up all these little small things to finish off this kitchen. But it's like 99% done. There's a few little things here and there we gotta tackle and finish off, like the nail holes and the kicks, that sort of stuff. We gotta do some caulking, but we'll do that all kind of right at the end of a project. And obviously we still have to do the trim around the pass-throughs, but that'll be when we do baseboards and trim work in the entire house. But as far as the major aspects of this kitchen go, we're finished, and it looks so good. Well, at least we think it looks so good. Maybe you don't, and on that note, leave us a comment below, like whether you liked things or didn't like certain aspects. We read it, we take it to heart, and you know, sometimes you guys have great ideas, and we incorporate them in the next project. But, as I mentioned, it's late. I want to head home, so we're going to end this episode here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give us a little thumbs up, every bit counts, and stay tuned for the next one because we're going to be tackling the master bathroom. Adios! It's not even black, it's like all foamy inside.